hello, my friend, and welcome to the flip side, where we take the Bayside weekend service and we flip it around and we go 10 layers deeper, both in content and in application. And we've got a kind of a new feature here. We're going to ask some different questions, some questions we've never asked before. It's going to be very cool. And of course, when you got the hard questions, you got to bring in the big guns. So I got Michael Metcalf from Bayside Adventure.
What is up?
Pastor Metcalf, man.
I'm super excited to be. I can't remember the last time I was on Flipside, so I am stoked.
It's to my fault, man. I can feel my frontal lobe getting geared up for you right now, even as we go. So, hey, let's get right into it. We're going to be in Mark chapter 2. It's a little preview of the Mark sermon series we're going to do in a minute. We're in the last couple of weeks of our Keep the Faith series, if you're following along. And like I said, we're going to ask of this Mark chapter 2 passage some different questions. So, Tay, you got the questions written down for us off screen there. What's question number 1?
Yeah, so we are changing it up this week, and our first question is going to be, what did you not preach this weekend?
What did you not get to, Brother Metcalf? Because you ran out of time.
I ran out of time. Well, I rarely run out of time, but I think the thing that I didn't lean into was in verse 5. It says, when Jesus saw their faith, talking about the 4 guys who hoisted their friend on the roof.
Right.
So my youngest son, Chandler, has said a couple of times as he is really growing in his faith and like reading scripture, he said to me and Shelby a couple times, sometimes I feel like we're not living this Bible I'm reading, which is a pretty convicting statement.
Every family's got one of those honest kids in it.
Yes.
Especially a pastor's family.
100%.
Hey, by the way, Dad, you're preaching out pretty good.
Are we living this? And if I'm honest, I think about my faith journey. I remember when we're sitting in Van Grimes' living room and we're going through the book of Romans, and literally almost every single verse, I'm like, tomorrow I'm doing that. I need to be doing that. You need to be doing it. And it's like this excitement and passion, and people are saying to you, what's going on with you? Why are you so excited? Who is this? What's this Bible study you're talking about? And now I'm a pastor, I'm a leader, and I'm full of faith, but I'm convicted because I'm thinking, where are the places in my life that people are saying, wow, we see your faith.
Yes.
We see your faith. We see there's something different about you.
You know, I got the same exact verse. When Jesus saw their faith, then contrast that with the religious leaders criticizing. And it says, immediately, Peter's favorite word here, Mark John's favorite word, immediately Jesus knew what was in their hearts. Right. So Jesus recognizes immediately what's going on with the 4 guys that lower him through. And he recognizes immediately what's going on with the religious leaders. And I like you, it's not like I didn't preach this. I just didn't get enough time to preach this.
Right.
And so what would it mean for Jesus to see our faith? That's the thought you had. And then the thought I put in there that I wish I could have explored more, which is you can't hide from God.
That's good.
You know, I heard Miles McPherson preach this great sermon to men a few years back, and he was talking about Genesis. And God says in Genesis to Adam and Eve in chapter 3, where are you? Of course, God knows where they are.
Right.
God asks us this question: where are you? What do you think you are?
Exactly.
Where do you think you are? I'm looking for you. And he said, every time we sin, we tell ourselves this lie: God won't know. And every time we sin, we tell ourselves this lie: this won't hurt anyone. It's just me doing this.
So true.
And immediately, God sees the good act of faith, and immediately God sees their heart. And I said this on the weekend. I just didn't get to preach it that long. You know, the most comforting thing I can tell you is God sees you. And the most disturbing thing I can tell you is that God sees you.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
So.
I said the same thing, but I paused during the scripture and I said, here's the thing. God knows your thoughts. Maybe we should clean up our thoughts.
Yeah. Maybe it really does start with our thoughts.
He knows our thoughts.
Yeah.
He knows what we're thinking. And I think it is when I think about it, it's humbling and it's comforting. But if I lean into it and just, Van used to tell me this, a good friend of mine, Van Grimes, used to say, Michael, if God knows my thoughts, I just want to talk to him about what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm feeling today, God.
Yeah.
I'm discouraged today, God. I'm
Yeah.
excited today, God.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing that thing again.
Yeah.
And that conversation is the thing that we
Right.
need to value. If we lean into that conversation, man, there's so much freedom.
We're just in denial too much though. We kind of skirt around it like, I kind of am feeling a feeling. No.
Maybe.
No. You are actually in full blown criticism,
Right.
full blown titillation, just
Right.
admit it, say it, drag it out into the light.
Right. Amen.
It's so true.
So
All right,
true.
first question is, what did they not preach? Tay, what else do we got?
All right, next question. And before
Wait,
that,
wait,
we
wait,
actually
we got
have
coffee?
coffee.
Coffee
Yes,
time.
so we were bringing in
Perfect
coffee.
Woo.
Perfect
We got
timing.
Cameron.
What do we got here, Cam?
We have an Ethiopia blend. It's called Molish Sadamo.
Molish Sadamo.
And it is
Molish
known-
Sadamo.
Yes, and it has a tangerine and mango flavor.
Tangerine and mango from Ethiopia. You know, I like the African coffees. Okay, Cam, I'm just saying you brought your coffee game up since that first
Man.
episode. I'm gonna stop teasing you on camera.
This is legit. Can
All
I just
right.
can I just stop over here at any time and get like a cup of this?
Sure, I mean, I'll stop by the office.
All right, I'm ready for question number 2.
Question number 2. We're changing it up as well with this one, and it is, what is hard about this passage?
To me, it's a real easy one to answer because almost always, here's our tendency when we study the Bible. We want to put ourselves in the place of Jesus. I'm Jesus. I'm healing lepers. I'm speaking with authority. And we even preach that way, be like Jesus. And, there's some truth in be like Jesus. But when we're reading this story, do not put yourself in the seat of Jesus. In fact, the best way to read the Bible, the old Wayne Cordero statement is don't read the Bible, let the Bible read you, is put yourself in the most uncomfortable seat in the passage. And of course, the most uncomfortable seat here is, the hardest one is the religious leaders. And here's why. You say, how can you see a miracle and not just completely submit to Christ? And I'm like, this is really easy. Miracles create selfishness all the time. He fed the 5,000. They're following him for a free handout for the next couple weeks till he has to turn around and say, you want some more to eat?
Right.
Eat my flesh and drink my blood.
Right.
And there's all sorts of chaos that happens when God demonstrates his power because we have a sinful response to even God's miraculous. I think what's going on here, Michael, is the refusal to give up power. Never underestimate our desire to hang on to power, even to the point of damaging our lives and ignoring God. Politically, this is what happens in our culture.
That's good.
Culturally, this is what's happening in our culture. This is where the church gets it wrong when it gets angry about everything that it has no control over. It doesn't get angry about all the stuff that would show the love and compassion of Jesus Christ. I'm just families. Okay, let's just take families for a second. This is one realm. What is the struggle between a 2-year-old and a parent? It's about who has the power.
Who's in control?
Yeah. What's the struggle between a teenager and a parent?
Who's got the authority?
What's
Who's
the
got
struggle
power?
between a young married couple and their parents?
Who's got
Who's got the power? What's the struggle between the elderly parent and now the adult child taking care of them?
It's all the same.
What's the struggle between the surviving siblings dividing the estate of the past parent?
Man, that's good.
From toddler all the way through retirement, it is this jostling of who's got the control and who's got the power. And what you'll find is, this is true of my marriage, Michael. When I decided to start losing fights with my wife, my marriage got a whole lot funner.
That's the truth.
And we both got too exhausted to win anymore.
It's
And
so
all of a sudden
true.
we fell back in love and got
So
happy.
true. So true.
Because we're holding on to preference, and we're holding on to power, and we're holding on to significance. We're holding on to that because we feel insecure. It's the position of the religious leader. They're the town authority. Jesus is coming into their little Capernaum town and going, I might have some more authority than you.
Right.
So the hard thing about the passage is looking at going, not, hey, boy, that group or that issue, they should give up power. But what power do I need to surrender to my spouse,
so good.
to my world, to my God? surrendered. So that's the hard part of the passage for me.
That I got nothing after that. I'm just over here taking it in, getting ministered to.
Give me
right
one
now.
swill of Ethiopian coffee, bro.
It's so good. And I think so, but every struggle I have in my life is always about power. Everything I'm struggling with is is me not wanting to release control or authority.
Yes.
Me wanting to hold on, wanting to prove myself or prove my point.
Almost every conflict in the workplace. The level 5 leader, what is he good at, the level 5 leader? They empower people.
Yeah. Humble and empower.
Yes, exactly.
It's amazing. Good word.
You guys ready for question number 3?
I am, but first make a note. Have Michael Metcalf on more often.
Michael Metcalf, I'm writing it down.
Any guest that sits across from the flip side and just goes, I got nothing to add, Curt Harlow, you rock.
It's a good day.
I feel empowered right now.
True.
All right, let's get that third question.
All right, I'm excited mostly about this one. I feel like it's very relevant for today. Is if Jesus were here right now, what is he posting on his Instagram? What's he putting on his story?
So the lower it's California 2021. They bore a hole in a roof, lower a guy down. Jesus heals him. What does Jesus post on his Instagram the next day?
This may be controversial, but this is what I
love
think.
it. It's the flip side.
This is what I think. I think he's posted a picture of a mat, and he's saying, pick up your mat and go home. Here's why. I couldn't find, and Curt, you probably did, I couldn't find a theological reason why Jesus includes pick up your mat and go home. Couldn't find it. What I did think is I could imagine what would have happened had the guy that couldn't walk starts walking back through the town carrying his mat. What happened was people are saying, wait a minute, weren't you the guy that used to lay on that thing? What?
First of all, there's a man with a bed, mommy.
And then he begins to tell his story.
Yeah.
And what I argued on the weekend was that the mat might have been evidence of God's goodness. What he'd been through, what God had freed him from, was now the way that more people were going to know about the grace, the goodness, and the healing of who Jesus was. Pick up your mat.
So it's March Madness. I tend to think, when we're recording this during March Madness, I tend to think that that's just dunking on the guys. Like he could walk out. It could be a layup. He could walk out, but pick up your mat as no two hands.
Right. Exactly.
Two hands are off the backboard, to your big
backboard.
center.
Exactly.
And let him just
Behind
slam
the
a jamma
back.
because you don't think I can forgive people.
Get
up and take the mat with you.
Take the mat with you.
Or it's just Jesus being a good house guest. Like after my healings, I don't leave stuff laying around at your house. Okay, that's a beautiful one. You know, the thing about these stories is you feel the authority of Christ in every single little instruction he gives. Even if you don't fully understand what was his motive there. And often, especially in Mark, the real motive's not revealed. It's less for us to grapple about it, which is the beautiful tension of it. But you feel, it didn't feel like fable. It feels like the God doing what's counterintuitive to us. But the second he does it, take up your mat. You go, oh yeah, that's the right call.
Of course I will.
Here's the one I went with. I think the next day he gets on Instagram and goes, hey, we're just leaving Capernaum now. We're on our way up to Cana again. If you remember, we were there for a wedding last year. We're heading back up to Cana. And it's kind of a travel guide because I said this at Granite Bay. I said when in chapter 1, the whole city shows up at the doorstep in Capernaum and everyone is sick or demon possessed. To our modern ears, that sounds shocking. Man, a whole city showing up at my house.
Right.
It's a tiny little city.
Right.
It's a tiny little city.
Right.
That wouldn't have shocked them that the whole city showed up. Everyone was sick. Well, they got no HMOs.
Right.
They got no back.
Everybody is sick.
They got no anesthetic. They got no Neosporin.
Right.
So everyone having
that
illness.
was the norm.
That was the norm. Demon possession. In our anti-supernatural modernist, we know everything. We got everything explained. Arrogance. We dismiss all of that. They would not have that. None of those things shocked them.
Right.
What shocked them is that Jesus was the Messiah and he was from Nazareth. the
What?
little town down the street,
Right.
and that he was starting his ministry in Capernaum. So, I don't know if you know California geography, everyone listen to this, but this is like saying, and Jesus did his first miracles in Galt and then moved on to Loomis, where he preached in a synagogue at Loomis.
Right.
And it's not San Francisco, it's not Los Angeles. So to me, that's the shocking thing. And it's just a reminder, God values the small.
Amen.
God values the small. This is not DC. This is not LA. This is not Nike. Yeah, I went there. This is not Nashville. This is not New York. This is Capernaum.
Yeah.
And I think what Christians do is we kind of tumble against the windmill of the biggest, easiest targets. Say, man, if Hollywood would only.
Right.
Hollywood's only giving us what we all want.
Right.
If Nashville would only, if
Right.
this political party would only, if this institution would only. I want to change institutions just as much as anyone. I see the systemic evil as much as anyone. But maybe the moral credibility to change those things starts at the Capernaum level.
Come on.
Maybe it starts at the micro level more. And so what's shocking here is that he's in Capernaum.
Yeah.
And that gives me a little hope. Maybe he's going to show up to my little street. I don't live in a gated community, I'm
Right.
I got the corner lot on a busy street.
Right.
It's hard to find my doorbell because my hedge is overgrown.
Right.
But maybe Jesus could still find me.
Amen.
Maybe he could still find me. So
Amen.
I think he posts #live from Capernaum on his Instagram. That was fun. Tay, let's keep doing that with the questions.
Yeah, I like them.
Cool beans. All right. That's all we have for now, man. And I just want to encourage you. Here's the whole vision. I know I say this every episode, but oh well, I'm going to keep saying it. It's more than just listening to a sermon. It's exactly what Michael said a minute ago. It's about applying it. It's the excitement of seeing what happens when we apply it. And to do that, we've got to engage with it more than on the weekend. That's what we do, the flip side. So we can kind of flesh out the sermon, keep it front and center. After it's delivered, after the series is faded a little bit even, we're wrestling with the theology and concepts, and we're living our life like Christ lived his life. So, having said that, here's what I want you to do. Would you please share, and share. Before you actually hit that pause button or flip that screen, find someone who needs this information, wants to be inspired by this content, and share the flip side with them. God bless you. Thank you for joining, Michael.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
for
me.
joining. We'll see you next week on the flip side.